Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, where everything you're about to hear and see has been done in one take. I'm your host, the One Take Man. Next week, as of the date of this video's release, UEFA's International Club Championships will get restarted. That means there's going to be Champions League football again, and by football I mean association football, also known as soccer, but I'm calling it football because European. So that means, as I said, you have a Champions League, Europa League, Conference League. And as you might have been able to tell from the title of this video, I have some thoughts on those competitions. Thoughts I wanted to write down, but then decided, you know what, fuck it, I'm doing it off the top of my head because this is a topic that I've been confronted with quite a bit throughout my throughout my days. Even though I even though I'm even though I was even though I wasn't really always as passionate as some other people, I do still have some opinions concerning how these competitions in particular are organized, and I want to talk about them. Hence why I also have this scarf right here. I'm representing. uh, anyway, uh, let's talk a bit about these competitions because I have to say, from an organizational standpoint, the backbone is mostly the same, but the details vary somewhat. All of these competitions consist of uh, a qualifying round, a group stage, and then a knockout stage. And the issue with all of these with all of these is that various teams start out at uh, different points of the start at different points assessed by their club coefficient or how good the or how good the club is assessed to be. And how good is the club assessed to be very much depends on very much depends on previous performance. However, previous performances weren't this were not involved in competitions this complicated. So if your club has a sizable history, then you're then you're automatically going to get going to start a little bit later over the course of this over the course of this competition. And let me just say that is not a direct merit of the of your performances within the most recent season. That is the merit of previous generations of the people who other people who took who took part in the club competition. So the club those with a club in your city starts out a little earlier than clubs in other cities for no other reason than the and those then either those clubs existed or those clubs uh, uh, have had the better histories. And while that could be a merit of the club, it speaks little to the actual merit of the uh, of the participants within current or modern editions of those tournaments. And yeah, suffice it to say, I don't think it is particularly fair, particularly if you look at the divide between Western European teams and Eastern European teams, which, as a Romanian expat to Germany, kind of makes me think, but also but also is kind of simply emblematic of the of a bigger problem throughout throughout football, and also throughout the ways in which uh, the various European nations um, actually manage their images. Because make no mistake, this is absolutely a thing that happens. Sports washing is a term that exists for good reason. Um, lest I remind you. And I can't help and that was not always the case, because when the Champions League, Europa League, when those started, those were single elimination tournaments. Everyone just flowed in and competed. You do well enough in one round, you beat your opponent, you move ahead. Whereas the current format for champion for champion the for the Champions League and the Europa League, or as it was known at the time, the UEFA Cup. Well, those were really only adopted in the early '90s with the fall of the Soviet Union, and a lot of those countries, uh, a lot of those countries be focusing on rebuilding themselves in other ways, pretty much neglected their domestic football leagues, and that in turn led to issues throughout those nations' uh, competitional futures. And those are issues I want to address, because I think because I am because I think having this competition is a good idea, and I want this to become a more fair, or become more capable of recognizing the merits not of clubs, not of associations that exist on paper, because those always take the past way too much into account. What I'm talking about, the merits of the people currently involved within the club infrastructure, and how those can be rewarded. And to that end, I think the best thing that can be done is to uh, forget the current competitional calendar of qualifying rounds, group stages, and knockouts entirely, or rather forget the first two stages and just do the knockouts. So uh, one single 64 uh, 64 team or 64 participant bracket, single elimination tournament that determines where the winner of each match, and the progression is determined by where the progression for the tournament is simply determined by winning, you know one match at a time. It will lead to I will admit it will lead to at least less predictability, and it also means less matches. So investors are less might be so investors will be less than willing to do so. But honestly, this, however, first of all, screw the investors. So them not liking it, this is actually a plus. Second of all, uh, the way the schedules are pieced together are put together right now really places an excessive amount of strain and effort on players from big leagues. So even though those people have a little more will have a little more issue might have some issues concerning the finances that are coming in, they will have they no longer have to face the issues of that player fatigue and player injury that they come across, that they often have to that are becoming increasingly more common in today's environments. So yeah, that is very much the main thing I want to focus upon. Another thing I would focus upon is how the actual financing works, or more precisely, who gets the reward money, because I don't want that to go in the hands of in the hands of club managers, but rather in the hands of like players and coaches, because I think those people responsible for the results on the field, especially in a especially in this kind of single elimination format where every single match becomes that much more important. Some of you might have noticed something, namely that I said that there should be a 64 participant bracket. However, who would fill it out? Well, obviously the champions of each national competition. Thing is, UEFA only has 55 members, one of which is currently suspended. You have three guesses as to who. The first two don't count. Anyway, so who would fill out that? Who would fill out that bracket? So who would fill out the rest of the bracket once you get all of the national champions? Well, obviously the runners up, but not from the 10 highest ranked, but from the 10 lowest ranked, because I really think those teams would be the ones that would most directly benefit from the exposure. Now, admittedly, some of those smaller teams are some of those smaller teams or some of the lower ranked teams are micronations like San Marino, Liechtenstein, who might not really have the strongest domestic leagues. So for them, I think they should be given the option to forfeit the rules. And therefore assuring that more deserving second place winners actually enter the competitions. I'm fine with that. I'm very much fine with that. There could also be if people are really gonna grumble about it, there should also be an automatic placement for the previous winners, or for example there could be a place in the Champions Tournament for the winner of the secondary tournament. Speaking of, the secondary tournament would once again be the Cup Winners' Cup. So yeah, it's somewhat. So yeah, that's pretty. So yeah, I don't know what that says about me. The fact that my suggested my suggested revamp is basically to do the same. Is basically to do a return to form and mainly just have the Champions Cup again and the Cup Winners' Cup again. But I think this format allows for greater exposure, and while also decluttering players' schedules, and allowing for better visibility of lower ranking leagues, therefore giving them and therefore giving them a greater number of opportunities moving ahead in the future of the competition. That this very much replaces the Europa League and Champions League, but not the Conference Leagues. In my idea, the Conference League would just kind of fall to the wayside because let's be honest, because in all honesty, I really don't know what its point would be. So yeah, that's my suggestion for how these competitions should be reorganized. Unfortunately, FIFA has made a different decision, and starting next season, they'll instead adopt something akin to a Swiss system. For those of you who don't know, the Swiss system is basically an incomplete round robin, where the various competitors are all placed in one or several large pools or groups, and instead of facing off against every single other team within that group, they only face some of them based on how they've been drawn, and then from the way they've been, and then from their results in the within the matches they've been drawn, they get selected to go one level higher. And honestly, if you're gonna have that, I'd really rather have the European Super League system, or more, not necessarily the Super League system as it's been suggested right now, because as it's been suggested right now, it's kind of a mess and incomplete. Rather, I'd have it similar to the way the Nations League is set up, where where even though there are various tiers of leagues, not every team in a given tier faces against every other team in a given tier. Rather, they are separated into groups within those tiers and then compete within those groups. That's kind of what I want the what I would want the Super League to be. Champions from all of these champions from all available confederations, all available national confederations or national domestic championships, being separated into their own, say, 18-team leagues, and then competing against each other for for supremacy within their given league. Those leagues would not function in promotion or relegation. They would basically be parallel. So you'd have which would technically still give you like free European champions every year. Important to note here, however, is that while I think not only that could lead to no, I'm not going to talk about nominal match numbers. Instead, I want to do the simplified version of this, namely that when a team competes within the Super League, they are not also competing in their domestic league. They are just competing against them amongst themselves. Sorry, for that season. If they are able to win the Super League in that season, then they stay in the Super League. Everyone else, goes back to their national championships to be replaced with the winners of the previous league season, and then the winners of the league seasons go ahead and compete within that Super League system again, and so on and so forth. So yeah, those are kind of my those are the two suggestions I have for how UEFA's international club championships or club competitions could be reconsidered, reorganized. I hope I've been explicit enough, even without even without my notes, even without any visual aids, just kind of off the cuff talking. And if yes, then I'm glad I've been, and I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you've enjoyed this video, well then please, if you enjoyed seeing my presentation, then please like the video. Maybe even share it wherever you think other people will also like the video. If there is anything you'd like to add, either to my presentation or to my suggestions, or maybe come up with your own suggestions, that's what the comment section is for. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, where I'll talk about something different, I'm not exactly sure what, well then please subscribe, and ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. I also have a main channel where I talk about book-related topics, a link to which you can find in the description down below, right past my social media links, which I also suggest you check out should you choose to. Additionally, you'll also find a Patreon in the description down below. Patreon, I, at the time of this video's release, am maybe not at the time of the video's release, but at the time of my production, I'm thinking about how I can revamp it. So what exactly I will be doing is something I can't say right now, but you will be able to see for yourself. should you be interested. Until next time, I have been the One Take Man.